What is the book that disturbed you or scared you the most? Hello guys and welcome to I Love Reading, a channel about interesting book-related subreddit topics. If you love our content, please press the like button, leave a comment and lastly, if you're new here, subscribe to our channel. Now let's get started. I'm a big horror buff, and I recently read Apt Pupil by Stephen King. It made me feel nauseous at some points. I was wondering what books have bothered you the most, even if they were really good. I liked the book, I just had times where I needed to sit it down and read something innocent and sweet to balance out the cruel. Johnny Got His Gun by Trumbo. Not scary but definitely disturbing. A World War I veteran wakes up after an explosion to find that he has no arms or legs, he is blind, deaf, and his face is disfigured that he can't speak. He is just left with his thoughts in silence and darkness, isolated from the world. Physically unable to even commit suicide as an escape. I've heard so much about the Hyperion Cantos by Dan Simmons and was finally able to get a copy of the first book, Hyperion, after months on my library's wait list. I start reading it right before bed and I'm instantly hooked. Hard sci-fi, wonderful detail, imaginative universe building. Then comes the telling of a priest's exploration and study of a forgotten tribe of people on the planet. Nope. Nightmare fuel. I made the mistake of reading right before bed and the scene that Simmons laid out kept running through my head all night. Haven't been able to touch the book since. Salem's Lot, because it was the first King book I read. Someone left it at my work at an all-night gas station. Reading King for the first time, at night, locked in a small cubicle, alone with my young adult thoughts. Another King book that bothered me to the point of putting down a few times is Desperation. There is a creepy and disturbing mood about this book that I can't put my finger on. Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum is the most disturbing. The Demon in the Freezer by Richard Preston is the scariest. Definitely American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. Holy God. Any chapter with the word girls in the title is a firm stay away from. The Jaunt by Stephen King. It is a short story in Skeleton Crew. As I read it I could see what was going to happen, and it still freaked me out. Best commentary I came across after reading The Jaunt. It's not just saying that it's a long time. It's longer than you are able to think. It's so long, all you are able to do is think. 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 Time ticks by, each second firing synapses as you try to process the infinite and infinitesimal with that lump of meat that contains all that you are. Time passes, seemingly without end. A blink of an eye to the outside world. But inside the slip, without the sedative, you run out of thought before you run out of time. You exhaust your memories. Your imagination can only create so many new lives to lead. Captain Picard in the episode The Inner Light experienced a lifetime in a day. He was forever changed because of it. And that was only one life. Inside the slip, you have time for nearly countless lives. Whatever your imagination can dream up. That is, until it runs out. Eventually, your mind cannot coherently create a stable timeline or comprehensive reality. Beyond imagination lies dreams, and within dreams, nightmares dwell. An increasingly disjointed and strange world of terror and misery, the only things your mind can craft. Forever trapped within a private hell of your own creation. But even that isn't the end. Past hell is oblivion. Your mind shuts down. You no longer think. All you do is exist, and all you have is awareness of your isolation. For what may be a near eternity, isolation is all you have, all you are. By the time you're through the slip, your psyche has been irreparably damaged. It's longer than you think. It's longer than you think. The Exorcist. My parents said I was too young to see the movie when they went, so they let me read the book. The Yellow Wallpaper. Oh, man. The slow descent into madness, the utter helplessness the text conveys, and the part at the end where she's walking around the room. I don't think any other story has given me chills quite like that one. Misery by Stephen King. What always scares me the most is not fictional monsters, but people who turn into one. Because you know there is no bougie man under your bed, but you never know if your next door neighbor is not quietly going nuts and plotting to kill his family or you. So in Misery, it's a perfect portrayal of a mad lady and a situation that can actually happen in real life for me. It's terrifying. If you're into Lovecraft horrors, try At the Mountains of Madness. For an uneasy, unsettling read, Jaws. Being someone who loves to fish, the way the shark is described as lurking just below the surface unbeknownst to the swimmers in relatively shallow waters makes me think twice before wading waist deep in the surf to cast. Oddly, Cat's Cradle cost me some sleep. Kurt has this ability to point out our power relative to our maturity as a species. That's scary as hell to me. Completely different answer. 1408 by King. It's a short story, which is where he shines. On top of that, the main character is a total non-believer like myself, so seeing his logic and sanity fall apart so quickly, well, losing my mind is probably my greatest fear, so it's disturbing. This isn't horror by any means, but I just finished The Heart of the Sea by Nathaniel Philbrick. It's the real-life story that inspired Moby Dick, so it's about a whaling boat that gets attacked by a whale and the story of the surviving crew members. It gives detailed descriptions of what whaling involves, which was pretty gross. It also goes into great detail about the biology of starving to death or dying of dehydration. The author also goes into detail about the cannibalism that occurred when they ran out of food. It's the only time I've finished a non-fiction book in like 2 days, so I definitely recommend it, but it was also definitely super disturbing. I read Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House when I was home alone for a weekend. I wouldn't say I was terrified, but I was definitely unsettled and would frequently take breaks from reading. And I didn't look forward to turning the lights off at night. Perfume by Patrick Suskind. I had to put it down for a few weeks when he got to the description of the immediate lead up to the first murder. The description of the victim was too close to what I look like for comfort. Edit. I got the author's name wrong because I didn't bother to check it, despite having the book on my bookshelf. It's been a while since I read it. I found American Psycho physically difficult to read at times. The Girl in the Rat. The Meat Grinder. All told in that famously flat tone. Another one was the short story Survivor Type by Stephen King. The guy is trapped on a desert island and start cutting off body parts and eating them in desperation while going mad at the same time. Maybe this is cheating, given I was a kid at the time, but the first Stephen King novel I read was Salem's Lot, and it scared the ever-living FK out of me. I was about 10 years old and should not have been reading Stephen King. The scene of the priest being forced to drink the vampire's blood was especially traumatic. This is a bit of a tangent, but it's funny to me now. Why was I reading King at age 10, you ask? So, I was an avid reader, carried a book everywhere, read above my grade level, and so on. I was with my mom at my grandmother's house one day, bored, with nothing to do and nothing to read. Now, I come from a family of voracious readers, so my family always swapped books around, and there were always books lying around everywhere. So I picked up one at random and announced I was going to read it. My mom flew across that room and snatched it out of my hands. I've never seen her move that fast. Here, read this instead. And she shoved Salem's Lot into my hand. Turns out, the book she took away was a V.C. Andrews novel, either Flowers in the Attic or one of its sequels. I guess blood, gore, and vampirism is preferable to incest and other scandalous sex, LOL. There you have it, interesting comments by Reddit users on what is the book that disturbed you or scared you the most? Note: all the books talked about in the video can be accessed through the links on the description below. Thank you for watching till the end. If you loved the video, don't forget to press the like button and also subscribe to I Love Reading. See you on the next video.